So here we are after COVID, all the craziness of the 2020 elections, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and to make matters worse, Elon Musk just fucking bought Twitter and got everybody saying nigga all over the place like we in Django Unchained. And despite all of this, some of y'all motherfuckers are still asleep. I'm not just talking about the voters, I'm talking about the Republicans and the Democrats. The upcoming elections are coming up and the races are way too fucking tight. We got lunatics, fucking racists, and people with a third grade fucking reading level. And yes, I'm talking about you, Herschel Walker. So here we are, one insurrection down and possibly another to go. And the Democrats are still acting surprised that the Republicans won't play fair. And the Republicans have shown that they are willing to burn our democracy to the fucking ground if they don't get their way. So basically, the Republicans keep making the Democrats bend over, and the Democrats just keep turning the other fucking cheek. And yo, I thought this was a fucking democracy. Watching all of this unfold has been the most frustrating shit ever. I'm about to get candid and get into a few things that have been pissing me the fuck off today. There's just way too much shit going on right now leading up to the election. Y'all remember being kids, and whether it was a street race, basketball, or even a fight, there was always an asshole kid that just wouldn't admit defeat. And they'd hold up the whole fucking game because they didn't want to admit that they had lost at fucking hide and seek. Well, we grown now, and some of those asshole kids grew into asshole fucking Republicans. If you were paying attention in 2020, or if you've seen any news stories about the GOP, this next part should not surprise you. Now, we know Trump has like 50-11 investigations into his ass right now. But last week, reports surfaced revealing messages that, surprise, surprise, the craziest bitch in America, Marjorie Taylor motherfucking Greene, was working with Trump in 2020 to challenge Joe Biden's win. Basically, creating the election lie. You see where the fuck I'm going with this, right? So now, Trump has been meeting with state officials and all of his MAGA motherfuckers to decide what to do if they lose both the House and the Senate on November 8th. Moreover, a lot of Republicans, like Kari Lake in Arizona, refuse to say whether they will accept election results if they fucking lose. Admitting defeat might seem minuscule, but the peaceful transfer of power is one of the hallmarks of a highly functioning democracy. Ready for the hypocrisy? We have a history of stepping in the middle of the craziness happening in other countries over elections and the constant struggle for power. Meanwhile, people around the globe think the US is immune to this kind of anarchy. Newsflash, we're fucking not. Here's my question. How can you have conversations when both sides can't even agree on what the facts are? A couple weeks ago, Ron DeSantis and Charlie Crist linked for a debate about critical race theory. DeSantis dissented, saying it teaches white children that they are inherently racist. He went on to say that he doesn't want children being taught that the US was built on stolen land. Wait 1 second. Someone called the Native fucking Americans, because clearly this motherfucker wants to completely rewrite history. When settlers came to the US from Europe, there were people already the fuck here. That is an undisputed fact. Yet we celebrated Columbus Day. Celebrating Columbus Day is like showing up to the club packed full of people, but then posting on IG that you are the first motherfucker there. And that's exactly what Ron DeSantis wants us to fucking do. I gotta give it to my man, Charlie Crist. He was getting at it, and Charlie must have been bumping ether on the way to the debate. His oh shit moment was when he challenged DeSantis to admit that he had no intention of being governor for the full term because his eyes were on the White House. It definitely made a good soundbite, but I don't know how it helps us in the long run. But that's part of my frustration. Real talk, the fact that the Republicans are willing to go so much harder to maintain power. Case in point, this past week, Nancy Pelosi's husband was violently attacked in his fucking home by a man wielding a hammer. The investigation has shown that the suspect's belief system was in the far radical right. Hold up for a second. Can you fucking imagine somebody breaking into your fucking home based upon your political beliefs? That's fucking nuts. Now, we don't know for sure if one of the Republicans actually put him up to it, but does it really matter? I mean, the rhetoric they've been pushing encourages this kind of violence. And there's proof. Threats and attempted attacks of politicians have skyrocketed post-Trump. They even plotted to kidnap the governor of Michigan, Gretchen Whitmer. And if that isn't enough, look at all the current voter intimidation shit that's been going on. There are actually armed people terrorizing voters at ballot boxes all across the country. Republicans have made violence as much a part of our politics as voting is. There's a saying that those who can make you believe absurdities can make you commit atrocities. Absurdities like Joe Biden stole the election, like Democrats are the party of child abuse. Listen, claiming election fraud with no evidence is like saying the U.S. was not built on stolen land. What happened to Nancy Pelosi's husband is both absurd and shameful. And despite all evidence to the contrary, Elon Musk got his hateful ass on Twitter and insinuated that Paul Pelosi wasn't attacked by a right-wing radical, but instead a prostitute that he was bumping up with. But riddle me this. Now, I'm no expert, but what prostitute you know that breaks and enters? Wait, hold on a second. Let me rephrase. Breaks into a house with zip ties and a hammer. I ain't never seen that shit on Backpage. And whether they handpick the perpetrator or not, based on the hateful rhetoric they've been spewing, they may as well have bought that man a hammer and driven him to Nancy's house themselves. And if Republicans are able to get even more power by winning the House and the Senate, none of us will be safe. There's a gang of fucking issues you should be paying attention to right now. Roe v. Wade, student loan debt relief, and the fact that the Senate is up for fucking grabs. And keep in mind, some of the folks running for office are fucking nuts. In Pennsylvania, you got Fetterman versus Mehmet, aka Dr. Oz, who thinks your uterus should be property of the local fucking government. Now, the Republicans would have you think that them being against abortion is about them caring about the welfare of unborn children and their religious indignation. But what it's actually about is maintaining power in numbers. Just about every study shows that in the next 30 years, white people will no longer be the majority. So by outlawing abortion and abolishing it in states across the country, they're trying to hold on to dominance, and it's fucked up that they're willing to use women's bodies in order to get it. And can I also call out the irony of Mehmet running for the Senate as a Republican, the party that does not trust science, medicine, doctors, or facts. This man just said, fuck my Hippocratic oath, I'm gonna be a senator, bitch. NGA, you got Warnock, a pastor, up against a motherfucker who can't even spell pastor. Again, Herschel, I'm talking about you. And again, wait for the irony. The Republicans got a football player who sounds like he's gotten everything on Noah's Ark pregnant, but only kept 1/10 of the children to be the face of pro-lifers in fucking Georgia. You can't make this shit up. At every turn, Democrats are pulling out their best, brightest, and nicest, and the Republicans are pulling out the people that can whoop their ass in a street fight. Republicans have been trying to paint the leftist soft on crime and attacking them for supporting things like defunding the police. To be honest, the defund the police movement was certainly not perfect. I myself took issue with it, but the right is undoubtedly politicizing this issue and using it as a subtle nod to their base. Now, you know their base ain't that fond of black and brown people. The irony is, most of the states with the high murder rates are actually Republican-led states. Go fucking figure. I want to take a moment and address the Kanye effect. After all of the drama over the last few weeks, people fall on both sides of this issue. And the part that probably hurts my heart the most is the long-lasting implications of what he did. Kanye is not Stacey Dash or Herschel Walker. To many of us, he was a real hero with vision, entrenched and at the core of our culture. The message he sends is that he can be flipped and weaponized against us, any one of us can be. And to everyone who wants to tout what a free thinker this man is, understand this. Being a free thinker does not mean you get a pass to lie to your own fucking community. By the way, none of his talking points are original. He is saying the same shit that Trump and the Republican Party have been saying for fucking years. I don't understand how he can claim to be a man of passion and have love for his community that has supported him his entire fucking career, and yet align himself with people like Candace Owens. And stop fucking calling Candace Owens a terrorist. Terrorists believe in something. She's not a terrorist. She's a fucking mercenary. A hired gun willing to assault her own people to line her pockets and appease her masters on the fucking right. There's a saying that goes, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Regardless of your politics, race, color, or creed, anti-Semitism should not make you happy or apathetic. It should make you fucking angry. The easier it becomes to go after any group of people for any reason, the easier and more intense it will be for them to go after you and your group. And if you stood up for no one will stand up for you. And if you can't see that none of what he's been doing is a coincidence leading up to the most important midterm elections in our lifetime, then you ain't just asleep, you're in a fucking coma. Michelle Obama said that when they go low, then we go high. But when she said this, I don't even think she imagined the dystopia we'd be in at this point. Slavery is on the ballot in many states. Women's reproductive rights are up for grabs, and the Speaker of the House's husband was attacked in his fucking home. I have no issue with taking the high road. My edible is actually in my pocket. But are we so high that we can't even see the right coming? We are living in a brand new world with new rules, and if the Democrats don't wake up and start taking the fight to the people on the fucking right, then we're all gonna be fucked. You cannot choose to be Gandhi when the other side has already chosen to be Michael Myers. In the past several weeks, you're still an apathetic voter, then you're not asleep. You're in a fucking coma. And that's why you need to get your ass up and vote. And if you don't, trust me, all the violence and anarchy that the right is threatening will be such a fucked up way to